Alright, what's up chads? Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're an OG, and today we got a lot of stories out of our hands, and our first story is a little bit wild, dog. Like, Microsoft, they're not stopping. They went after Sony this time. They went in with that low blow. They're flexing pretty hard on the Sony ponies, and I mean, this is what we're hearing from our experts, right? This tells you what's going on. My man said that, hey, nice to see Microsoft giving up on Xbox already. So you can see the temperature. It's pretty wild out here, and I will be talking about both perspectives, right? Like, I don't think this is a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, smash the like button for me to be brave and, you know, say all of that stuff, guys. Like, not many YouTubers will say that, but I will definitely be providing both perspectives, and I just want to get right into it. I mean, this is what we're hearing. Why Microsoft believes in cross-gen and no exclusives for Xbox Series X. So this is the reason why a lot of people are like, hey, they don't even have any exclusives to offer. I'm gonna go with PS5, and some people are looking at this and they're like, hey, that's a good thing, right? Just because I will be able to play, you know, no exclusives, that means that I can play some of the Xbox games that I personally love on the PC as well. So sure, like, it's a good thing and it can be a bad thing. I will talk about why people are like going kind of crazy, okay? I mean, if you're new here, I cover all the big gaming news. So if you like, you don't do that, then subscribe. But this is what we're hearing from GameSpot, right? They're saying that, hey, Sony is releasing PS5 only games, but Microsoft is putting its games on both new consoles and old, as well as PC. Now, for me, for somebody who doesn't own an Xbox, I think that's a pretty good thing, but I will definitely talk about like the negative side in just a little bit. Right now, this is the direct quote from Phill Spencer, which you know what, Phill Spencer for 2020, I mean, he trying to make the Xbox great again, I guess. This is what Phill Spencer said: as a player, you are the center of our strategy. Our device is not the center of our strategy. Our game is not the center of the strategy. We want to enable you to play the games you want to play with the friends you want to play with on any device. On TV, the Xbox console is going to be the best way to play console games. Now sure, like, I like this approach quite a lot, you know, just because of the fact that I do not have an Xbox. But the problem with this one is that, let's say if somebody who has like a PC, you know, he's a PC master race, got like a 3000 RTX 2080 Ti's or whatever the case may be, you know, they are fully secure with a good PC, and they're looking at some of the Xbox Series X games and they're like, hey, that look good, that look good, you know what, my wallet will feel a little bit of that, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that Xbox Series X. But when they hear the fact that, hey, like, you can play those exclusives on the PC, then all of a sudden the Xbox Series X purchasing appeal goes down. And of course, that's my opinion, and you guys are, you know, feel free to let me know in the comments below, like, the way you feel. I mean, just don't hold back, like, go in the comments. But this is the way I personally feel about it. If there is any really good Xbox Series X game and I'm looking at it, I'm most likely just gonna play it on the PC. So in that way, hey, like Phill Spencer for 2020, because he's making me not purchase the Xbox in that sense, right? I can just buy the game and play it on my PC. So that's a pretty beautiful thing. And I really do think that Xbox Series X approach is not to sell like more consoles. And I know that some Sony ponies will be like, hey man, Skizzle, you know, they already lost it, that's why they are not really going for that approach. And maybe that is true, right? But I really like this approach because it's really consumer friendly. So now I will be, if I'm looking at some games that I'm interested at, I can surely just buy it on PC. And same goes for PS5, right? Like, they got that exclusive that I'm personally interested in. A lot of people are interested, let's say, in Spider-Man, right? Like, that's probably the main one, right? So a lot of people are looking at Spider-Man, and if Sony makes it so that becomes available on the PC, then all of a sudden PS5 purchasing appeal also goes down, because a lot of PC Master Race guys will be like, hey, why bother purchasing a PS5 when I can just, like, you know, spend $60 or $70 now for a video game on the PC and get that game. So it's like yin and a yang, right? Like, let me know your opinions below. Now surely I do not agree with exclusive content, and I'm gonna use Modern Warfare for the example out here. You guys remember the survival thing that PS4 got? Like, that was like 1-year deal, and still it is not available on the Xbox. And honestly, man, the survival was a disaster for Modern Warfare. It had a lot of bugs, and you know what, we didn't even had enough content compared to like Modern Warfare 3 survival. So it's not like Xbox players are missing, but that is something that I disagree with heavy, right? Like, if you're gonna be having exclusive games, yeah, sure, personally I don't mind a console having exclusive games, because that's the way they can raise their purchasing appeal. For example, right, like iPhone, some people chose iPhone because they got some exclusive features, and other people choose Samsung, like me, duh. And you know what, Samsung got some exclusive features. That's what I'm saying, right? So exclusivity in that regards, it's not a bad thing. But when exclusivity gets bad is when, they try to make it so, you know what, we got same products on both consoles, but they're like, you know what, the PS4 gets that for 1 year. And that's something that I disagree with. Needless to say, they're trying to make Benjis. I mean, smash the like button for me to be brave and say all of that stuff, guys. I definitely want to know your opinions. Do you think exclusives good, exclusives bad? On the flip side, we're getting this information from a former Xbox executive, and he was talking about the mid-gen PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X refresh, and he thinks it is highly unlikely. And you know what, my man actually spoke with Reset Era forums, the same guys who banned Angry Joe and Skillov for their Last of Us 2 reviews. We're gonna be talking about the Last of Us Part 3 in just a little bit, guys. But he spoke with Reset Era, and he explained that why mid-gen PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X refreshes are unlikely to happen. He then talks about the fact that the PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X were more of a necessity due to 4K displays becoming rapidly more mainstream, as the base models were designed driving the 1080p output, and as 8K displays are unlikely to become more mainstream in 3 or so years, there may simply be no need for a mid-gen refresh. So this is like what he's saying, and I hope it is true, right? I think this is a good news. I really do not want to like get another one of those PS5 out like 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. And same goes for Xbox, right? Like, would you want to be like buying PS5 or Xbox Series X on day one, and you know what, 2 years later they got another one of those console out, right, where it's a little bit superior, and they're marketing it as, hey, if you buy this, all your problems will be solved, you will be getting free kicks of dopamine. Meanwhile, it's not gonna be free, you gotta pay to get them, if that makes sense. But I personally really hope that 5 years down the road, like let's say 2025, like 2025 holiday, if the Roni is not getting bad, I hope Roni gets under control. Make sure you guys are washing your hands before smashing the like button. I definitely don't want anyone to catch the Roni, but I genuinely hope that we don't get like a PS5 Pro or another one of those Xbox Series XX or whatever, or however they want to name that thing, right? I really hope we do not get a Pro version, right? Like, just make it so 5 years down the road, instead of like 7-8 years, make it so every 5 years we get a new console, and that's just gonna make it so we have a significant hardware difference. I think 5 years is pretty decent. I think in 5 years time we are definitely gonna be seeing a significant change in terms of technology, and we're gonna be staying on par with the PC master race, right? I think 5 years is perfectly fine. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, we're hearing a horror story. I mean, for some people out there, it's gonna be a really good news, though. I gotta be honest, so I don't want to say a horror story, but to someone like me, it's a little bit of a horror story, right? Because Last of Us Part 3 might actually happen, and I know that a lot of people want it, a lot of people don't, and you know what, I respect your opinion. If you want it, if you enjoyed Last of Us Part 2, hey, that's perfectly fine. Like, I also enjoyed a lot of things in Last of Us Part 2. The story wasn't my cup of tea. I'm really hoping that some new writer comes, right? I feel like that ever since Emmy left Naughty Dog, their writing department has gone downhill. I definitely want a new cook in the kitchen, rather than, you know what, just fire Neil Druckmann. I know a lot of people are saying, hey, fire Neil Druckmann, this and that. That would be the last thing I wanna say, right? Like, I don't wanna wish that even on my worst enemy. That's not the way I roll, right? But get a new cook in the kitchen, somebody who is willing to listen to the opposing arguments, and somebody who is, you know what, I'm gonna take the constructive criticism in, and therefore I'm gonna make some adjustments, this and that. I'm gonna make the fans a little bit more happier. That's what I'm saying, right? Like, if they can get a new writer that can work alongside Neil Druckmann, and both of them are mutually, they agree on making the story in a way where fans are gonna be happy, hey, like, sure, like, go right ahead, right? Make Last of Us Part 3. But here's the thing, right? So a new job listing went live on the Naughty Dog's page, and this is a direct quote: work on our next generation graphics analysis, profiling, and debugging tool in conjunction with our sister technology group. They're already working on the next gen single player game. Like, is it gonna be Last of Us Part 3? Is it gonna be a new IP? I hope it's a new IP, because Neil Druckmann has already teased either he's gonna be working on Part 3 or he's gonna work on a new IP. I really hope it's a new IP, because new IP, yeah, not many people will be attached to it, and if a new IP comes and if it's a good one, hey, that's gonna be amazing. And for sure, like, a lot of people want Uncharted 5, but a lot of people are like, hey man, if Neil Druckmann's make that game, I don't want it. And you know what, good news, right? Good or bad news, I can say this can be a really good news or a really bad news, just because of the fact that recently we heard, and I already reported that on the channel, Sony acquired a secret studio like a couple of years ago, and they're getting like talent from Naughty Dog over to that studio, and by the looks of it, they are working on Uncharted 5. Now, I think this is a good thing just because a new studio is working on it, so that might mean the story can be good. It might be a reboot. The story might be really, really good, right? But the bad news in this one is that, hey, what if the graphics aren't up to par? Because I definitely feel like that Naughty Dog is amazing in terms of polishing the game right and making the graphics looks like nutty, right? I do feel that way about Naughty Dog. So I definitely want the graphics to be, if Uncharted 5 is gonna happen, I want the graphics to be, you know, on the same level as Naughty Dog, but I want the story to be like what they used to be with Naughty Dog. Definitely not the new approach. I don't want Nathan Drake to die in the first hour of the game, if that makes sense. And for sure, as soon as we hear anything more, I'm gonna keep all of you stud muffins in the loop. So like and subscribe, click on any of the video on the screen. You're gonna get a kick of dopamine, and I will see you right there. Stud muffin out.